So the story with today is obviously getting the flight over. We arrive in Turkey at about 5 p.m. I'm with Jamie in the back, I don't know if you can see him, and my mother, who doesn't want to be on camera, is coming with us as well. Not to support me or anything, but just to top up her tan for the next couple of days. So once I get to Turkey, I'm off straight to the hospital. The Hair Time clinic, now Hair Time, are going to pick me up, pick all of us up, bring me to the hospital, get my bloods done and everything else to make sure that I'm healthy and ready to go and get the transplant done tomorrow. So I'll be sure to bring you along for any updates along the way. All these people have the opportunity to go quicker on the escalator, but they decide to stand still. Every time I go somewhere, I stop off in Boots for some hair gel. But obviously we're not going to be needing that anymore. Well, saves me money. So my mother so kindly made us lunches coming here for the hair transplant, as if we're not going to get another opportunity to eat. But she put names in them because years ago when she was making lunch for my whole family, which is 7 kids and my father at the time, to make sure we got the right ones, she had to put her fucking names on them. I actually can't wait to get under their knife. No, for shut. So I was thinking about this on the plane, and usually when someone's going through something like this and they land, they'll probably get fucking really nervous about it. Oh shit, like it's happening. But for me, I'm actually excited to get it done. And for me, it's a bigger decision for me not to get it than it is for me to actually go and get it. So personally, tomorrow I'm going under the knife. I actually can't wait, because once it's done, it's done. Once I'm back home in Ireland on Thursday with a big bleeding, scabby head, well then it's only up from there, so. Jeez, this is fresh. Mate, I thought I fucking forgot my passport. I was like, did I leave it on the plane? Fucking smelling like absolute shit. We finally arrived at the hotel. I think it's like 9 p.m. Turkey time. That's bloods done, got my COVID test, got my SAG or something, so apparently I'm good to go. So tomorrow's operation, that's when I'm going to be going under the knife, so looking forward to that. The breakfast is so healthy here, it's actually a joke. No wonder everyone in Turkey is skinny. Give me a frying man. Whoa! Getting a hair transplant.
Yeah.
We all on the same day?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Fuck, man, they must be making bank. Is there any medical prescriptions that you're aware of to stop, as you said, the recession of the hair further?
Like PRP, mesotherapy, finasteride, minoxidil, and these will be explained to you.
I can be informative. Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You enjoy this part?
Have you shaved your head before?
Nope, first time.
Are you going to cry about?
Maybe later. 70 years old. Feeling like doing a fight club or something.
I'm going to punch the mirror.
Maybe.
Don't raise it though.
Try not to. We call off the hair transplant. Just go abroad. Alright, so as you can probably tell, that's the surgery done and dusted. I'm all bandaged up on the back, and obviously the blood is coming out of the top here. You might be wondering, why is the hairline kind of still fairly back on my head? The reason for it is that you're not able to implant follicles where your forehead muscles are. So if I raise my eyebrows, you can see that my forehead muscles go to about where the line is on my head. I wanted it a little bit further. Ideally, I had in my head that I wanted to bring the hairline a little bit further down, but they said that that obviously wasn't possible. So it's still going to be a massive improvement. I think I was wondering why Mike Thurston's before wasn't as far down his head as I would have thought someone would have gotten it, and it was probably for the same reason there. So if I'm not looking like Mike Thurston in fucking 6 months time, it's not been a bad procedure. So with the procedure itself, the worst part about it was probably the anesthetic. So they injected my head about 20 times in the back, fucking very painful. It was like you put a needle in my head literally and then started tearing it. It was probably the worst part of the surgery. So they did that, then they took the grafts on the back of the head, put them in a box. Then about halfway through the surgery, they started putting anesthesia again in the top of my head to numb that so I wouldn't feel anything. And then they started taking the follicles from the box and just implanting them one by one, where you can see all the scarring there. So yeah, it was pretty easy in general. I fell asleep a couple of times during it. I nearly fucking slapped the needle out of your man's hand a couple of times as I was falling asleep, and then I started twitching. But it was easy. I didn't really feel a thing bar the anesthesia. I was done in about 4 hours because I didn't have too much to do. If you're getting like the whole head, you can probably expect to be in there for about 6 or maybe 7 hours, but literally it's fine. You get the injection, that's the worst part of it, but from there you just don't really feel anything. So all that's left for me now over the next few days is just the recovery aspect of it. So I have to keep my head kind of up here, or else the blood and all the leakage will fall out. I have to make sure that I don't hit my head, I don't sweat, or I don't get any sort of liquid on it, because then the follicles can be damaged or they can fall out, and then they obviously won't grow the way you want them to. They gave me this sort of neck pillow that I'm meant to wear when I go to sleep. I have to sleep at a 45-degree angle, so either I'm going to have to prop up the pillows on the bed, or I'm going to have to sleep in the chair like this. No umbrella for you. Once it's washed, it's going to be better. It's just, you can smell the dried blood is kind of the worst part of it, but getting clean now. Much better. Suits me, is it? I'm never, as I said, I'm not going back to long hair. This is way better. It's perfect. Thanks so much. I'm imagining it looking a lot better than it does now.
Yeah? It's easier to imagine, right?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing this grow back, and I can't wait to see what the final result will be. I was thinking all along, I was nearly having the long hair to compensate for obviously my baldness there, but I think now that I've fucking taken the plunge to shave it, it's just going to be something that's going to stick. I actually think it suits me way better. So this is what I woke up with on day 3, and apparently it gets worse before it gets better, and I don't really see how it's going to get much fucking worse. I'm like the fucking last airbender. It's a beluga whale I look like. So I'm pretty sure that's day 3 done and dusted. So today was just getting a foam wash done. So yesterday was more so just a rinse more so than anything else. Today they put like foam in and gave it a bit of a proper wash. So I think after today they're just going to say their last goodbyes, tell us the last things that we need to know about kind of preserving it and the recovery process. But from there it's home time tomorrow essentially. And that's the end of my journey in Turkey. But couldn't recommend it enough. I'll go into more detail there in the next clip about it, but that's pretty much me done and dusted. So it's been a week today since I got the hair transplant, and I just wanted to summarize my overall experience with Now Hair Time in Turkey. And the first thing I want to make clear is that this wasn't an ad. They didn't ask me to come out and get a hair transplant for free in order to promote them. I paid full whack for it. I paid €3,250 for the entire process. I'm under no obligation to promote them or to say that this was a more favourable experience than it was. And when I genuinely say that I couldn't be happier with the experience, I genuinely mean it. From the very beginning, from when we arrived at the airport, for them to pick us up in the fancy limo that they did, shuttle us to our 5-star hotel, it's part of the package, is a 5-star fucking hotel. And then to shuttle us to the clinic whenever we needed to go, and to shuttle us back to the airport when we were done. The experience itself was as frictionless as you could ever hope it to be. In terms of my experience with the surgeons and with the clinic itself, it was nothing other than professionalism. Like with this hairline here, I went in and I wanted to bring the hairline down further. But what they said to me is that if you look at my forehead, I've got muscles very high in my forehead. So they said, we're not going to plant it where you want to plant it because number one, it's not going to grow properly. And number two, it's going to look unnatural. So they did the more natural kind of V hairline, not because I wanted it, but because they said that was going to be the best shout. Whereas if they were like a cheap clinic, they would have just done whatever I would have wanted to do, regardless of how that outcome would have come. And for me, what's important to note is that the transplant isn't a be-all and end-all. It's not a cure-all, because if I had receding hair beforehand, the chances are there could be receding in the next couple of years. But that's why the surgeons made it very, very clear that I should be supplementing with finasteride, with minoxidil, getting PRP, plasma treatments, mesotherapy, to look after the recession and make sure that that doesn't happen and ultimately leave gaps from where the new hair is and where my hair could be in a couple of years. So yeah, to summarize, if you're someone who's thinking of undergoing the procedure, of course your situation might be a little bit different to mine. You might be more risk averse than I am and prepared to do a lot more research than I was prepared to do. But it is ultimately a process and a company that I would ultimately recommend. So yeah, all that's left for me is to wait for this to grow back. Could take 3 months, could take 6 months, could take 9 months or 12 months. But ultimately, I know that in a year's time, I'm going to have a much better head of hair than I currently have right now.